Bharati Maharaj ki, Dalila Vishnom Vishnupadasthatara Sata Shri Shrimad Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj ki, Dalila Vishnom Vishnupadasthatara Sata Shri Shrimad Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj ki, Dalila Vishnom Vishnupadasthatara Sata Shri Shrimad Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj ki, Dalila Vishnom Vishnupadasthatara Sata Shri Shrimad Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj ki, Dalila Vishnom Vishnupadasthatara Sata Shri Shrimad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki, Dalila Vishnom Vishnupadasthatara Sata Shri Shrimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj ki, Dalila Vishnom Vishnupada Paramahansa Paravrajacharya Asthatara Sata Shri Shrimad Param Gurudev Jagat Guru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada ki, Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki, Shapta Goswami Sachit Ananda Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki, Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki, Shri Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya Srila Baladev Vibhushan Prabhu ki, Shri Rasika Acharya Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki, Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Trai ki, Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki, Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu ki, Shri Sukdamara Rairanda Shri Gaura Parashad Vrinda ki, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki, Prem Sikho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki, Shri Navadvip Antar Dvip Mayapur Dham ki, Ganga Devi ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopina Sham Kunda Radha Kund Giri Govardhana ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Jamuna Devi ki, Shrimati Purnamasi Yogamaya ki, Shrimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki, Gopishwara Mahadev ki, Nubraj Dham ki, Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi, Sudarshan Chakra Purushottama Dham Tota Gopinath ki, Narasingha Bhagavan ki, Bhakta Pravar Prahlad Maharaj ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shintai Gaura Premanande.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শিবাসাদি গৌর ভক্তবৃন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শিবাসাদি শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শিবাসাদি গৌর ভক্তবৃন্দ শিবাসাদি গৌর ভক্তবৃন্দ শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শিবাসাদি গৌর ভক্তবৃন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গৌর ভক্তবৃন্দ শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শিবাসাদি গৌর ভক্তবৃন্দ শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু দয়া করো মোরে শ্রী চৈতন্য দয়া করো শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু দয়া করো মোরে শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু দয়া করো মোরে তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালো জগত সংসারে তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালো জগত সংসারে তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালো জগত সংসারে তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালো পতিত পাবন হেতু তবয়বতার পতিত পাবন হেতু তবয়বতার মো সমপতিত প্রভু না পাইবে আরা সমপতিত প্রভু পাইবে হা হা প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ প্রেমানন্দ সুখী হা প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ প্রেমানন্দ সুখী কৃপা বল কর্ণ করো আমি বড় দুঃখী কৃপা দয়া করো সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গোসাই দয়া কর সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গোসাই তব কৃপা বলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই তব কৃপা বলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই আহা স্বরূপ সনাতন রূপ রঘুনাথ আহা স্বরূপ আহা স্বরূপ সনাতন রূপ রঘুনাথ আহা স্বরূপ সনাতন বদ্ধ যুগ শ্রী জীবা প্রভু লোকনাথ 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 দয়া করো শ্রী আচার্য প্রভু শ্রীনিবাস দয়া করো দয়া করো শ্রী আচার্য প্রভু শ্রীনিবাস দয়া করো রামচন্দ্র সঙ্গমগে নরোত্তম দাস রামচন্দ্র রামচন্দ্র সঙ্গমগে নরোত্তম দাস দয়া করো গদাধর প্রেমের সাগর দয়া করো গদাধর প্রেমের সাগর শ্রী শ্রীবাস হরিদাস মোরে কৃপা করো শ্রী শ্রীবাস হরিদাস মোরে কৃপা করো দয়া করো প্রভুপাদ সুদয়িত দাস দয়া করো বৈষ্ণবেরা কৃপা মাগে এই অধম দাস অধম দাস দয়া করো গুরুদেবা পতিত পাবন দয়া করো গুরুদেবা পাওয়া শ্রী চরণে সেবা মাগে এই পতিত জন শ্রী চরণে সেবা মাগে এই পতিত জন শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু দয়া করো মোরে শ্রী কৃষ্ণ তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালো জগৎ সংসারে তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালো জগৎ সংসারে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 রাম হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ হরে রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে রাম রাম হরে হরে রাম হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে ও হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Cycle Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Cycle Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Trishe Namaha. Nityanandam Namastubhyam Prema Ananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Namaha. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jayatam Suruto Pangor Mama Mandamater Gati Mat Sarvasva Padam Bhojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratanagar Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshtalibhi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambhi Vam Shivata Tatakstitaha Karshan Venu Swanayar Gopir Gopinata Shriyestunaha. Bhaktya vihina aparadha lakshay kshiptascha kamadi taranga madhye kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna brinde namaste charanara vindam Brindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Kesavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Guru Dev Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and to Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I pay my unlimited Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga. And I pay my Dandavat Pranams to all of the Vaishnavas and to all of the Vaishnavis. So we are trying to complete this book, Ragvartma Chandrika, written by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, describing the incredible moonbeam that illuminates the path of spontaneous devotion. That's why he named it Ragvartma Chandrika. Now we are on part 1, second illumination. We'll complete that today. And we left off completing text number 6. And there's only 2 more texts in this part. That is 7 and 8. And there's a very long Sanskrit prose, that Chakravarti Thakur composed. And then at the end of that, it's about maybe a few pages, and then Srila Gurudev's Sri Chandrika Chakora Vritti, his illumination on that, which is only about a page long. But there's also a very important and interesting footnote that is given in the beginning of the English translation of the commentary. And we're going to read that also. The footnote itself is comprising, almost a full page of small print. So, very nice points being discussed there. So text number 7, which of course I won't read it because it's a page and a half long of Sanskrit. So now comes the translation of this text number 7. Chakravarti Thakur is now saying that it will now be described how a Raganuga devotee directly attains the desired goal by gradually advancing through the devotional stages of anartha-nivritti, the elimination of impediments, nishta, resolute determination, ruchi, strong taste, asakti, deep attachment, and finally ascension to the realm of prem, divine love. The Ujjvala Nilamani states, Tadbhava Badha Raga Ye Janaste Sadhane Rata Tad Yogyam Anuragogam Prapyot Kantanu Sarata Ta Ekasho Tatava Dvitra Kale Kale Raje Bhavan. So this is a quote from Srila Rupa Goswami's Ujjvala Nilamani. Translation of that verse: those who were especially attracted to the moods of the Brajvasis performed sadhan bhajan by way of ragamarg. Eventually they attained a wealth of suitable fervor required for worship in spontaneous love. And in due time, according to their eagerness, they took birth in Brajabhumi, either alone or in groups of 2 or 3. The word anuragoga in the verse above, it indicates appropriate eagerness for performing Raganuga Bhajan. Anuragoga means appropriate eagerness for performing Raganuga Bhajan. It does not refer to the intense attachment, anurag, comprising one's permanent devotional sentiments, staibhav, because there is no likelihood of this manifesting in the physical body of the sadhak. So you follow? Yeah? The point is being made that there's an appropriate eagerness for performing Raganuga Bhajan. But in the verse, it says anurag. That's part of that word. Anuragoga. So Chakravarti Thakur is pointing out that it does not refer to the intense attachment, the anurag, comprising one's permanent devotional sentiment, staibhav, because there is no likelihood of this manifesting in the physical body of the sadhak. We've heard this before in the Madhurya Kadambini, that it cannot come in the physical body, this anurag. So the phrase, quote, took birth in Braja, that means that the perfected sadhaks took birth from the wombs of gopis, just as the eternally perfect Nitya Siddha gopis appeared at the time of Krishna's descent. Is this going to be going on through the whole class? This pounding? Someone should find out and request that can be delayed, because otherwise it'll be a disturbance. So, again, I'm reading this. There's a phrase being mentioned here, and the words are, took birth in Braja. And that means that the perfected sadhaks took birth from the wombs of gopis, just as the eternally perfect, the Nityasiddha gopis, they appeared at the time of Krishna's descent. So both. So after that, the gopis who had attained perfection through performing sadhana, that is the sadhan siddha gopis, they're known as, they gradually developed sneha, man, pranay, rag, anurag, bhav, and mahabhav. Who gradually developed this? The sadhan siddha gopis. Because the Nityasiddha gopis already had this. But now, having taken birth in Braj, they now have to begin this development in the realm of prema. All these different stages. So after that, the gopis who had attained perfection through performing sadhana, sadhan siddha gopis, they gradually developed sneha, man, pranay, rag, anurag, bhav, and mahabhav, the highest stage of prema, by the influence of associating with, that is, by seeing directly, by hearing about, and by glorifying who? The Nityasiddha gopis, who are endowed with that mahabhav. So these moods could not possibly have arisen in the sadhak's previous material body. That's clear. Cannot come in the sadhak's previous material body. But once then he's taken birth in Braj, in Bhom Leela, then it can begin. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 31st chapter, 15th verse, it describes the extraordinary characteristics of Sri Krishna's beloved damsels of Braja in this way, in the following way. The gopis attained supreme pleasure by directly seeing Sri Govinda, and they experienced just a moment's separation from him to be like the passing of hundreds of yugas. The maidens of Braja have stated, quote, "We consider even the blink of an eye to pass like a millennium." So the gopis' experience of a moment lasting for eons, it is a symptom of what? Mahabhav. Here one may ask, can it be said that upon leaving his present body, that a sadhak who has attained prema directly, that he receives the form of a gopi in the unmanifested, aprakat Braj, without taking birth from the womb of a gopi. And then, through the association of the eternally perfect gopis, she attains the different moods of sneha and so on. You understand the question? In other words, can we bypass? So the answer is no. We cannot say this because it cannot be reconciled with the human-like relationships that exist there. Without taking birth from the womb of a gopi, one cannot answer questions like, whose daughter is this Saki? And whose daughter-in-law and whose wife is she? Then a further question arises. What is the harm if one says that they directly take birth in the Braja located in the spiritual world? And the answer is no. It cannot happen like this. What's the question? Yeah, in the Nityadam. And the answer is no. It cannot happen like this. Sadhaks who are from this material world, they cannot enter Vrindavan's special manifestation, which is wholly beyond their reach and scope. And since it is Siddha Bhumi, solely a place of perfection, only those who are Siddha or perfect can enter there. Now, it is not possible to attain the elevated moods of sneha and so on through the performance of sadhana. No. Impossible. Just simply through performing sadhana, these moods of sneha cannot be possibly attained. So therefore, before directly associating with Sri Krishna, Yogamaya takes the devotee. Here's the roadmap. Everybody listen, this is where we're going. You all will be going on this journey. And who's going to take you on that journey? Who's going to take you? Yogamaya. So, therefore, before directly associating with Sri Krishna, Yogamaya takes the devotee who has attained prem to a manifest Vrindavan that is perceivable in the material universe. One takes birth there at the time of Sri Krishna's appearance, so that these moods, sneha and so on, that they can be perfected. It is seen that practicing devotees, or fruitive workers, karmis, and perfect devotees, they all enter the Vrindavan that is visible in the material world. Therefore, this Vrindavan Dham, it is experienced both as a land of sadhana or practice, and as a land of siddha or perfection. So after leaving the sadhak body and attaining prem, then where do these most fervent devotees stay before attaining the gopi form? Good question. After the sadhak leaves the sadhak body and he is attaining prem, where do these most fervent devotees stay before attaining the gopi form? The answer is that after quitting the sadhak body, then the devotees endowed with prem, who for a long time have enthusiastically aspired for the direct service of the Lord, mercifully receive darshan of Sri Krishna along with his associates. What's the answer? Is this talking about going there? To the Siddha Bhumi, the Braj manifested in the material universes? Let's read this again, carefully. So the question is, where do these most fervent devotees stay before attaining the gopi form? And the answer is that after quitting the sadhak body, the devotees endowed with prem, who for a long time have enthusiastically aspired for the direct service of the Lord, they mercifully receive darshan of Sri Krishna along with his associates. This occurs even before they attain sneha. And all the other moods savored in the Lord's sportive amorous play, that is called Prem Vilas, they also, then Krishna grants them their desired service one time, in parentheses, just as he directly appeared before Narada in Narada's previous birth. So Krishna, this occurs even before they attain sneha and all the other moods that are savored in the Lord's sportive amorous play. Krishna grants them their desired service one time, just as he directly appeared before Narad in Narad's previous birth. And then Krishna bestows upon them their transcendentally blissful gopi form. That very gopi form, by the sway of Yogamaya, it emerges from the womb of a gopi in the manifest Prakat Vrindavan, where Krishna descends with his eternal associates. You got that? Huh? Is that understood? You want to say? Yeah.
So the darshan is there, the revelation becomes form and functions there. But then, after having that momentary, like Narada had, does that mean that they actually enter into the womb of a gopi that will later manifest the fullness of that form we have created?
Well, that's exactly what is stated. I'm going to read this again. But there's even a further explanation, but I'm just reading this again so that it sinks in. So after leaving the sadhak body and after attaining prem, then where do these most fervent devotees stay before attaining the gopi form? So there's a gap here of time. The answer is that after quitting the sadhak body, the devotees endowed with prem, who for a long time well, you can tell, Sukanta. Where is he? Is he here or not here? Well, I saw him when I came in. Okay. So the answer to where these most fervent devotees stay before attaining the gopi form, the answer is that after quitting the sadhak body, the devotees endowed with prem, who for a long time have enthusiastically aspired for the direct service of the Lord, they mercifully receive darshan of Sri Krishna along with his associates. And this occurs even before they attain sneha and all the other moods savored in the Lord's sportive amorous play. Krishna grants them their desired service one time, just as he directly appeared before Narad in Narada's previous birth, and bestows upon them. He grants them their desired service one time, and then he bestows upon them their transcendentally blissful gopi form. And that very gopi form, by the sway of Yogamaya, emerges from the womb of a gopi in the manifest Prakat Vrindavan, where Krishna descends with his eternal associates. That's not going to do anything at all, because it's coming directly through the ceiling here. I'm hearing it directly here. It's just above. Why don't you give him a call? You have his number? I mean, this is only out of a 24-hour period. This is a 2-hour period. In 3 days, in a whole week, you know? And so they can postpone it until after. So Krishna grants them their desired service one time, just as he directly appeared before Narad in Narad's previous birth, and he bestows upon them their transcendentally blissful gopi form. That very gopi form, by the sway of Yogamaya, emerges from the womb of a gopi. Again, that very gopi form that Krishna just bestowed upon the devotee, and that very gopi form, by the sway of Yogamaya, emerges from the womb of a gopi in the manifest Prakat Vrindavan, where Krishna descends with his eternal associates. And this is the final paragraph of this verse, that there will not be the slightest delay in this. No, there will not be the slightest delay in this, because the manifest pastimes, the Prakat Leela, they continue to take place without any interruption in one or another of the innumerable universes. And thus, the devotees endowed with prema, they take birth from the womb of a gopi in that universe in which the Vrindavan pastimes are being enacted. So when a sadhak who has attained the full maturity of his practices, and this is the end of this purport, but very important sentences, when a sadhak who has attained the full maturity of his practices, when he leaves his body and he experiences the manifestation of prema, then Krishna always appears before that devotee, always accompanied by his associates. Last sentence, therefore, O greatly eager anuragi devotees, do not fear. Rest assured, all is auspicious for you. And that's how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ends his presentation. Now, there's still Gurudev's commentary after this, but I mentioned already that there's this, the previous footnote. Now I want to read that in the context of what we just heard. So this is a footnote which is given just after Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is describing how a Raganuga devotee directly attains the desired goal by gradually advancing through the different stages, anartha, nivritti, and so forth. Now the revelation of the Raganuga sadhak's eternal spiritual identity, it begins to manifest at the stage of asakti. Still, Raganuga sadhana, in its immature state, it may begin at the stage of shraddha, or faith, before the stage of anartha nivritti. Again, I'm reading that. So although we've always heard this, that the revelation of the Raganuga sadhak's eternal spiritual identity, it begins to manifest at the stage of asakti. Still, Raganuga sadhana, in its immature stage, it may begin at the stage of shraddha, or faith, before the stage of anartha nivritti. Here, shraddha refers to that very rare shraddha, that is imbued with intense longing, which arises out of hearing about the unparalleled sweetness of Krishna's pastimes. That's where that Shraddha arises from. That's called Bhagavad Leela Madhurya Lobhamayi Shraddha. This type of faith is the qualification for Raganuga Bhakti. This is in contrast with faith that is devoid of intense longing and is governed by the principles of the scriptures, Shastra Avadaranamayi Shraddha, which is the qualification for Vaidhi Bhakti. If someone has that, they can begin Vaidhi Bhakti. Now, in this text, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is describing sadhaks who have sufficient samskaras from their past lives. And it mixed with the samskaras of the Rasik Vaishnava association in this life, or at least sufficient samskaras from their past lives, as discussed in text 6. Such Raganuga Bhaktas, they will thus advance very quickly through the stages of bhakti. And although they were eternally perfect associates of the Lord, our Goswamis, they played the role of Raganuga sadhaks, passing through the various stages of bhakti. Yeah, although they're eternally perfect associates, but they played this role. And in this way, they exemplified how a sadhak overcomes obstacles on the path of bhakti, which are caused by anarthas. Now, an example is Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's learning in his childhood how to chant Harinam. From who? Srila Haridas Thakur himself. And also learning from Yadunandanacharya that he is Krishna's eternal servant, but not yet receiving greed. So they're even, through Yogamaya, they're acting out a sadhak who's on beginning levels. And then he, Raghunath Das Goswami, he met with obstacles even after he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the first time. And then even when he met the Lord in Puri, later in his development, he manifested the symptoms of a siddha, such as getting indigestion from taking too much of Srimati Radhika's sweet rice prasadam when he had only taken it in his meditation. So Srila Rupa Goswami also played the role of a sadhak. And he mercifully demonstrated the danger of offending a Vaishnava, even when one has the qualification to perform internal bhajan. He laughed as he meditated, passing by Kanja Krishna Das, and that Kanja Krishna Das was offended, thinking that Rupa Goswami was laughing at him. And Srila Rupa Goswami's meditation broke. And Rupa Goswami immediately understood that he had offended a Vaishnava. Very significant. Then similarly, Srila Sanatana Goswami in his role, he had to face so many obstacles when leaving the service of the Mughal Emperor of Bengal. So regarding the practice of Raganuga and Vaidhi Bhakti, Srila Jiva Goswami states in his Bhakti Sandarbha the following. Quote, if a sadhak, though not yet having attained taste for executing the limbs of bhakti, if a sadhaka, though not yet having attained taste for executing the limbs of bhakti, he has regard for Raganuga Bhakti. So he's not attained any taste, but he has regard for Raganuga Bhakti. He may then perform Vaidhi Bhakti mixed with the practice of Raganuga Bhakti, for which he is eligible. An advanced Raganuga sadhak, he should also mix his practice with the practices of Vaidhi Bhakti. in order to set an example for the welfare of society. So that is the footnote. And now we're reading Srila Gurudev's Sri Chandrika Chakora Vritti on this same text 7. Upon approaching the stage of praying from Swarup Siddhi. What is Swarup Siddhi? Yes, one is realized in this body. That comes in the stage of bhav, not before that. But some spurtis, according to Madhurya Kadambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, some spurtis can come in the stage of asakti. So upon approaching the stage of prem from Swarup Siddhi, one cannot attain the perfection of his transcendental identity without taking birth from the womb of a gopi in Prakat Vraj. Now the Puranas relate one incident. Once, Mahadev, Lord of the demigods, he nurtured an intense yearning to witness the rasa dance. So when he reached Sridham Vrindavan, the gopis stopped him on the border of Braj, telling him that no one can enter without the permission of Yogamaya Purnamasi. Then after hearing this from the gopis, then Mahadev worshipped Sri Purnamasi with severe austerities in order to please her. Right? So being satisfied with his worship, Yogamaya appeared and asked him what boon he wanted. Then he expressed his wish to witness the Ras Leela. Holding his hand, Yogamaya dipped him in which kunda? Brahma Kunda. Yes. Brahma Kund. Years ago, that sacred place used to be a huge, gigantic hole full of garbage. But very nicely, they completely, renovated everything. And built beautiful stairs and gardens, and they have different murtis there, and the pond at the bottom is very nice. So that place, Brahma Kund, if you're walking from Gopishwar Mahadev temple and you're going toward Govindaji temple, you'll have to pass by Brahma Kunda. It's not too far from there. Yes. So, Yogamaya dipped him in Brahma Kunda. Then Shankar immediately assumed the form of an extremely beautiful cowherd girl. And Purnamasi now, she instructed the new adolescent gopi to watch the Ras Leela from one of the groves that are situated in the northeast corner of the Rasa dance area. And when the Rasa dance began that night, this new gopi watched the festivity from the appointed place. However, Sri Krishna and the gopis did not experience their special joy in that night's pastime, and they wondered why they were not feeling elated. They suspected that an unqualified person must have somehow entered the arena. So after searching in all directions, they came to suspect the new gopi, whom they found hiding inside the grove. Then the gopis, they asked to this new gopi, "Today we are seeing you for the first time. Whose daughter are you? What is your husband's name? From which village do you come?" But the new gopi, unable to answer these questions, simply stared at them. The Braja maidens were certain that she was an unqualified outsider, although afterward, on another occasion, Sri Krishna and the gopis allowed her to witness the rasa dance from a distance upon the request of Purnamasi. So as Mahadev did not take birth from the womb of a gopi, So he was unable to perfect his mood as an adolescent cowherd girl. So therefore it is imperative to take birth as a cowherd maiden from the womb of one of the gopis of Braj, and to marry a cowherd boy in order to perfect one's identity. This activity takes place through the assistance of Yogamaya. So after this, upon attaining complete perfection through the association of the eternally perfect associates, then one renders direct service to Sri Krishna in the unmanifest Braj. So this is the sequence. Very nice Siddhanta for aspiring sadhaks who have nurtured in their heart this aspiration to one day in some future life, somehow or other, by the causeless mercy, that this will be attained by me. But it cannot be attained without the mercy. Not possible. And it cannot be attained without coming on the path of Ragamarg Bhakti, not through Vaidhi Bhakti, not through any amount of Vaidhi Bhakti. Even for lifetimes of Vaidhi Bhakti can this be attained. And that's why that verse was spoken by Ramananda Roy to Mahaprabhu to clearly point out how valuable and how high are these moods of intense lolium and eagerness in the pathway of Ragmarg Bhakti. What's that verse? Yes. Yes. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriyatam Api Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukritair Nalabhyate. So this very verse, which is, it's an interesting point that our Srila Prabhupada himself has told, that he named his movement International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He used the term Krishna Consciousness based upon this verse. And what is the meaning of this Krishna consciousness? It's called Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. Mati means consciousness or intelligence. So Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati, that desire to taste Krishna Bhakti Rasa, to enter into the realm of this unlimited ocean of Krishna Bhakti Rasa, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Kriyatam api kutopi labhyate. Here, the devotee is being encouraged that if this is available, if you can find some location where this is being sold, like a commodity, that you can purchase it, at once purchase. Don't delay one single moment. But the only way that you're going to be able to purchase that is what? Tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam. This is the only price that must be paid. No other. No other. Only this lolyam greed. The intense greed to have this. Api mulyam ekalam is the only price. And what about even if you've performed many, many lifetimes? In fact, you performed Janma Koti. That means millions of lifetimes you performed what? Sukriti. Janma Koti Sukritaya. That even for millions of lives you perform Sukriti. You're a pious individual. But is that enough for you to obtain this rarest of all attainments through which you can enter into the transcendental realm of Radha and Krishna's pastimes in Braj, which is called lolium, intense anxiousness, greed to have this. So, Janmakoti Sukritaya na labhyate, you can't get it. You can't get it just by Sukritis. So, in this way, by hearing these types of books written by our great Rupanuga, Raganuga Acharyas, then we get some impressions. Some impressions come from this. That's called samskaras. This is what we just heard Gurudev saying in that footnote that we read. These are called samskaras. And the word samskara, it means impression. So those impressions, they are coming from what? Where do these impressions come from? But in the past life, where? From what did you do in the past life? Yes. Very, very high association with transcendental, pure Vaishnavas who are Vrajrasik, associating with them, hearing from them, serving them. This is the only place from which those necessary samskars can be obtained. Not by any amount of sukriti, even bhakti unmukha sukriti. Of course, you can't enter bhakti, you can't enter the path of bhakti without bhakti unmukha sukriti. That we know. And you also can't get the association of the sadhus, of the pure Vaishnavas, unless you have attained this bhakti unmukha sukriti. So what's that verse? Oh, Krishna, I can't remember how it begins. Yes. Bhaktis tu bhagavad bhakta sangena parijayate. So here, first half of the verse is telling Bhaktis tu bhagavad bhakta sangena parijayate. You attain the association, the sangha of a bhagavad bhakta. How? Sangena parijayate, first it's telling how you get bhakti. How do you get bhakti? You get bhakti through the association of a Bhagavad Bhakta. Bhaktis tu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena parijayate. Now, how do you get the association of such a personality? Satsanga, that satsanga, prapyate, is attained by a person, pumbi, sukritar purva sanchitaya, by previous life's sukritis. Can we turn this down a little bit, this fan? No, the other way. You have to turn it the other way. Maybe the other way. No, okay. And that one can be slowed also. Yes, so satsanga prapyate pumbi sukritar purva sanchitai. From the sukriti of previous lives, through that sukriti which is performed in previous lives, then you get satsanga in any lifetime. And from the satsanga, what do you attain? Then you get the necessary samskaras through that association. Then you can enter into the pathway of Ragmarg Bhakti. That's why in that purport there was a discussion that even in Shraddha stage, not asakti, even in Shraddha stage. If a person has, from previous lives, some samskaras that indicate there's a spontaneous mood of attraction, then even in the stage of Shraddha, he can begin the process of mixing his Vaidhi sadhana bhakti with Ragmarg bhakti. Yes. So, on one hand, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati, that verse, it is telling that it's not available even through Janma Koti Sukritis. Huh? So the question is, where is the greed going to come from? So that has to come from the association of the pure Bhagavad Bhaktas, who are themselves immersed in these moods and relishing and tasting. And by that association, and association doesn't mean only physically being with. No. Physical is very important, but real association. I heard this so many times, especially from our Gurudev. He says, I do not consider physical association to be real association. But to follow the moods, to follow the moods, to follow the moods of the pure Rasik Vaishnavas, and having some sukriti from previous lives, samskaras, then it's possible to gradually attain some greed. But it cannot happen in any other way. So what we have been given by our Rupanuga Acharyas, what we have been given is what? What did Prabhupada come to give? Just Vaidhi Bhakti? Huh? Yeah, but he told us to do Vaidhi Bhakti. To this day, those who follow him, they are doing Vaidhi Bhakti. But where does the spontaneity, where does that come in? When does that happen? It happens when you hear from such exalted pure Vaishnavas who are Vrajrasik. Now, was Prabhupada Vrajrasik? Yes. But his mission was to make the foundation very strong, so that throughout the whole world, one day, through the association of other Braj-Rasik Vaishnavas in the line of Rupa Goswami, in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would come and then they would give those necessary moods and katha. Because without that katha, without hearing it, it is not possible. So we always have to remember that there's a continuity between our previous life and lives and this one. And not everybody is the same. So Krishna is in the heart of every jiva, is he not? Huh? He knows everything. And he's making every arrangement for each particular jiva that they will come into sadhu sangha. But not all are the same. Some have much deeper samskaras from a previous life than others. They're not all equal. And this we can plainly see. That's a whole long discussion. We could go into that discussion at great depth and length. But it's a necessary discussion. Because the point is that Srila Prabhupada absolutely intended that his followers would one day come in the pathway of Rag Marg Bhakti. Otherwise he would not have given Chaitanya Charitamrita to the entire world. We're right in the very beginning. It's discussing this topic. And what Mahaprabhu descended to give. And what the Goswamis are giving. So, yeah. So I can't hear you. What? Can you give us an explanation of that?
Mahaprabhu came, he has external reasons and internal reasons of coming. The external reasons we know, to Dvaitacharya period, and then he's Yugacharya. So he's come, his internal reasons he wants to experience prema. Specifically Radharani's prema. And he wants to distribute on the platform of spontaneous devotional service, that process.
Okay. So, are there any comments or questions up to this point? Because now I'm going to read the last text of this chapter, and it's only like 1 page long. And then comes part 2, which is titled In Connection with Swakiya Parakiya. Very beautiful, wonderful subject matter. So, any questions or comments by any of the devotees thus far? Yeah.
I was just thinking, in Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada did give one example how from Sadhan Bhakti one can say you into Rag Bhakti, but he did it in a very simple way, just for knowing as we're just beginners. He said that he gave the example, he gave the example that in waking up early in the morning, a person will say, oh, in the order of my guru, I must do this, and it's an obligation, the scriptures say so, and I don't want to go to hell, even said that, so I shall do it. And he said, so one forces oneself to do so. He said, but then the devotee will think, at some point, he will wake up spontaneous, he will not be afraid, he will not be thinking, I have to do this. And he gave the example that the devotee will wake up and say, or think, that, oh, I must arrange some flowers. I must pick flowers, I must pick a garland, and I'm doing this. This is what motivates me to do it, not fear or just by order or obligation, that one has a sense of what one should be doing and wants to do it. So there's no problem, there's no force. So I know that that's written for us when we're just beginning. In that sense, Srila Prabhupada is the association we were speaking about, that Mahabhagavad Association giving us a sense of mood and sharing with us what should be there in the heart. So in performing sadhana, not that it's done by clockwork only, it's been done by what is the appropriate seva to be done throughout the day.
Yeah, I remember that statement in Nectar of Devotion. Nectar of Devotion, back in the early period of our movement, it was like a guidebook, you know. And so we tried to understand. But it's very clearly stated in the beginning there that by performing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, then one day one will also become qualified for spontaneous devotion. Prabhupada didn't use the word Raganuga very much in his translation. He would always use spontaneous devotional service. So when Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, who was requested by Srila Prabhupada to help his disciples after he leaves this world, and help them in what? He'd help them to progress to this mode of serving Krishna called spontaneous love, Raganuga Bhakti. And that was his main theme of his coming. And in order to stimulate that, he would speak the appropriate topics so attractively. They were so sweetly presented and attractive that everyone's heart became charmed. And as a result of that, now, although they're still in neophyte condition, but now they became very much desirous of entering into that realm of Krishna's pastimes and so forth. Now, some risk is there also when the Acharya opens up these topics, and we know that. All of our Acharyas have, even in fact Gurudev himself has written in his books in numerous places, because it can lead sometimes to what? Prakriti Sahajiyism. It can lead to that sometimes. So, but nevertheless, some risk has to be taken. Gurudev would tell too, I remember, in the early period. So, because Gurudev himself had seen and experienced in his institution and so forth, that this was being very much ignored, more or less. These topics, even in the Gaudiya Math. Not by all, but in general. And Gurudev could sense that there was an opposition to hearing these at all. And that's a whole topic in itself as well, because we also witnessed that while Gurudev was present. Even other persons in the Gaudiya Math had opposition. Okay? So it's a very sensitive topic. But what Gurudev was doing was taking the risk at a time when absolutely he has to do this. Why? Because how many of such individuals are there that are capable to do this? And this is what needs to be done at this stage of the presentation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Krishna consciousness movement in the world, all throughout the world. And there will be devotees taking birth, or at least coming to the movement even, as adults, that have certain samskars from previous lives. Okay? So, the preaching of the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti must always be there. There must always be very proper presentation of Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, all 12 cantos, not just only rushing to the 10th canto and so forth. This is essential. But as it's told in that footnote, I'm again mentioning that Gurudev is telling there that there is a possibility that some persons, even in the stage of what? Shraddha. Even in the beginning stage, Shraddha. That by the association of such exalted Rasik Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas, even in that stage of Shraddha, someone can begin under guidance to mix some moods of Raganuga with Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And that's what Gurudev did. That's what Gurudev presented in all of his festivals. But I noticed, because I got to travel with Gurudev many places, and it's not that Gurudev's katha would be the same in every place. No, no, no. Certain places he went only up to a certain level. Some places he barely even touched those topics because he considered the devotees to be not qualified to hear. But when Gurudev came to the West, he was coming with the intention that I now can present, because he had just spent the last 6 years, 7 years with certain individuals from ISKCON, and he was giving private classes, and he was seeing. And in fact, this very book that we're reading, Gurudev was reading to them and explaining it, you know. And there's a whole separate book that we have. the hidden path of devotion, which is taken from those conversations. So Krishna was arranging for this qualified personality that Prabhupada requested him directly, and then after some years, then now he was seeing very clearly that there's a need for this kata, and those who are very senior, who've been practicing for many years and serving, that they may be qualified now to hear these topics and to go in that direction. But that was not made available in the institution. It was not made available. Why? Because most of the individuals, even in the leadership positions, were not familiar. They were not properly understanding what is Vaidhi Bhakti, what is Raganuga Bhakti. In fact, even the word Raganuga, when Srila Gurudev came, so many of them, they wrote different objections. When did Prabhupada talk about Raganuga Bhakti? This is not the line of Prabhupada. Like this. So the point is that in course of time, Krishna has his overall plan. And so now all these books are available that Gurudev left behind. He also worked very diligently and very hard throughout his devotional life to give these literatures by the order of his Gurudev. So now these are available not just in English, they're available in multi-languages, translated, and they're there. They're not going away. One time Prabhupada was saying that if someone puts a banana somewhere, or a few bananas, then eventually it'll get eaten. Why? Because bananas are for eating, Prabhupada said. So, actually he was using that in relation with nuclear weapons. Because nuclear weapons are for what? They're for exploding. So eventually they'll get used. But Prabhupada was using the example of if a banana is somewhere, because a banana is meant to be eaten. And so eventually someone is going to eat it, you see. So in the same way, these books, and even Prabhupada said that about his books, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj especially said that about Prabhupada's books, that these books, they are very powerful. Just sitting on a shelf in any person's house, doesn't matter who the person is, where they're from, what they're eating, anything about their lifestyle, that book, sitting on the shelf. This is what Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj told after our Prabhupada left. Beautiful darshan, and he said, and Ramaswar was in that darshan. You can hear his voice in the background because they're asking different questions to Srila Sridhar Maharaj about book distribution. So, Prabhupada's books had been distributed by a couple of 100 million books by that time. And his whole Bhagavatam, like we see there in the back, beautiful display of the whole Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the Bhagavatam and all of these books, Srila Sridhar Maharaj told that any place where they are situated, if a person gets the book, or if a person purchases it, or if a person just finds it somewhere, and it's there in his home, what is taking place? He said, divine rays are coming from that book. And then you hear Ramaswar's voice in the background. Did you hear what he said? He said, divine rays are coming from that book. Yes. Because it's Krishna himself. And those books, that's why Prabhupada wanted that millions and millions and billions of books go out everywhere throughout the world, because they're murtis of Krishna. They're very powerful. And eventually someone is going to read it. There's a lot of stories. There's, of how devotees got books. I'll just tell one of them, which is one of my favorites. There's a devotee who joined in the Chicago temple, and what was his name? Trinakarta. Yeah. And in his story of how he became a devotee, he told the story that one day he was out in the forest, and he had his dog with him, and he was like hunting. And then one day, his dog would run out and then it would come back, and it would run out and come back. And one day, his dog came back to him and it had a book in its mouth. And I don't remember which one it was. It may have been the Krishna book. I think I remember it was the Krishna book. So he said, "What is this?" Then he took it home and he read it. And he became a devotee of Krishna, you see. So the mission of Mahaprabhu is being presented in many stages since the last 500 years. And it's all going on directly under the control of Mahaprabhu. And just around the corner, according to the great astrologers, this next 20-year period has not been seen for thousands of years. And it's indicating that Mahaprabhu's movement is now just going to, just the whole atmosphere of the world is going to change. And it's going to go through a lot of hardship, but it will be extremely good because everything will be cleansed. This is Mahaprabhu's plan. And then at that time, then what Prabhupada predicted, he said in the future people will come to our projects, to our farms, by the hundreds, then by the thousands, and then by the millions even. But this is the essence of Mahaprabhu's mission. This is the actual purpose. Not only to bring people in the beginning stages of the path, but in order to come from the Vaidhi side to the Ragamarg Bhakti side, it is not possible. This book clearly explains it. There must be some scars from previous life and in this life. We heard that in the footnote, Gurudev said. And so what is going on is that now Krishna has arranged for another Mahabhagwat Vaishnava, our Gurudev, to travel the whole world for 15 years, non-stop, and to give all these books to the whole world. And so now what is happening is that devotees are discovering these books of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And they're becoming quite astonished, those who have this attraction. And Krishna, he controls that. Who will get the book, who will read, what association they'll come into. So we should rest assured that this is the actual mission. The actual mission is to come to these higher stages, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, Swarup Siddhi. Then Krishna will give you direct darshan of himself and his associates, and then he will bring the devotee to the womb of a Braja Gopi in any universe where Krishna is performing his pastimes. This is the absolute fact that anyone who is a real follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will tread this path, and it will take more than one lifetime, and probably multiple lifetimes for most. But we should not discount the fact that those who have very strongly tried from the core of their heart for their whole life, they're going very high destination. Krishna's going to arrange for that. Just like the other day we heard all the glories of our beloved godbrother, Srila Avadut Maharaj. And so where he is, it's just like the brightest imaginable place very possibly even entering into Mahaprabhu's Leelas in another universe, or at least minimum, very high association, because this is what Gurudev told, didn't he? Many times he said, yes, if you follow this process, then you will get in next lifetime the association of persons like Narottam Das Thakur, and then the 6 Goswamis. So, just like the Jaiva Dharma of Bhaktivinoda Thakur is clearly showing that. Not too long, probably like within the 50 years or less after Mahaprabhu's disappearance, and there were still many of his associates on the planet. So just let me finish this, text 8. It's just one page, and very short of the Sanskrit. He actually wrote a verse to complete this book, because this discussion is actually not part. The discussion on Swakiya and Parakiya is added to this book. It's not part of the actual Ragvartma Chandrika. So this is the last verse in the book. He says, Leela Vilasane Bhakti Manjari Lolupalane Mogdya Sarvagya Nidhaye Gokulanandate Namaha. Gokulanandate Namaha. And then he has a short prose explanation of this verse. So he's ending by composing this verse. O Gokulananda. Who's Gokulananda? Huh? Who is that person named Gokulananda? Why is he named Gokulananda?
Because he gives Ananda to all Gokul.
Yes. O Gokulananda, O enjoyer of amorous pastimes, O Leela Vilasi. You are like a honey bee attracted by and always relishing the beautiful, fragrant, budding flowers of devotion wherever they are found. You are the deep mine of Mugdata and Sarvagyata personified. I offer obeisances unto you. O Lord, you have personally confirmed. I give my devotees the intelligence by which they can attain me. Did Krishna tell that? Yes. Which verse? Tesham satata yuktanam. So, O Lord, you have personally confirmed. I give my devotees the intelligence by which they can attain me. And thus I pray to you, O son of Nanda Maharaj, please bestow upon me that intelligence by which I can render service to you when you are decorated by the breasts of the gopis. Give me that intelligence that I can render service to you. So what does that mean? That means attaining that perfection of having the transcendental form of a gopi. This is the final paragraph. 3 groups of persons are reprehensible. What does reprehensible mean? Huh? Disgusting, reprehensible. So now he's telling us that there are 3 groups of persons that are reprehensible. Number 1, those who say that Raganuga Bhakti is always beyond all the different rules and regulations of the scriptures. Right. So, That's category 1. Category 2, those who perform archan with faith, but they abandon all rules. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Ye Shastra Vidhim Utsrijya, to give up the rules of Shastra, Utsrijya. So those who perform archan, they have faith, but they abandon all rules. What are the 4 main rules? Huh? No, just in this movement that our acharyas have given to each and every devotee who now becomes qualified to chant Hare Krishna and to become a beginning level Vaishnava, there are 4 rules.
No meat eating.
Yes. What else?
No gambling.
Yes. What? Oh, come on. You don't know them? You don't know the 4 rules? No meat eating, fish or eggs. No intoxication. And there's a list including BDs, chewing pan, and other things, okay? No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, which means outside of marriage, and even in marriage, has to be controlled. And what's the 4th one? Yes, gambling or mental speculation. How easily the conditioned souls concoct that they don't have to follow these rules. Have we not seen that? Decade after decade of presenting this Krishna consciousness movement in the West. That's why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is calling such persons who do archan, they do archan and they have some faith, but they abandon all rules. And then number 3, these are only 3 groups of persons that are reprehensible. What was the first one? Those who say, they broadcast, oh, Raganuga Bhakti, it's beyond all the different rules and regulations of the scriptures. You heard that before in a certain place called San Diego. I'm not going to go into the details. Okay, that's reprehensible. Now comes number 3. Those who perform sacrifices in disregard of the injunctions of the scriptures, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 17th chapter, Vidihinam Ashrishtanam. So, those who perform sacrifices in disregard of the injunctions of the scriptures. Now, because they disregard these 3 categories, because each one of them disregards the scriptures, so such persons have repeatedly experienced, are experiencing, and in the future will experience many disturbances. Yes, inevitable. So, then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, it is pointless to discuss this any further. And now he ends his book. How astonishing! Exclamation mark. This is how he's ending. How astonishing! This Raganuga Marg is very difficult to detect even for the demigods. May deeply intelligent devotees come to know of it through this moonbeam, this Chandrika, Rag Vartma Chandrika Gaur Premanande. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Shri Rag Vartma Chandrika ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Pada ki jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Prem Anande Hari Hari Bo. So we're leaving the final section for our Thursday class, which will be the final one on this book, and it will be the final one that can be attended by Rishabdev Prabhu and Nischinta Didi, because they're flying to the other side of the world again. Yes. So, okay, it's now about 1 o'clock. We should stop here, yes. So any final points, questions on this, what we heard today, on any other important subject matters related with this, anything, we can take a few minutes if you so desire.
Gurudev mentioned that even if one is may be in a lower stage, but by that greed and that even by his shraddha, he mentioned it in the level of shraddha. And then he mentioned how that, and it's referred to in the Madhurya Kadambini, the different types of love of shraddha. There's Lokik shraddha, which is worldly faith, then Paramatik shraddha. Gurudev here today was talking about Paramatik shraddha, and he made it a definition between Shastra Avardharina and Mahi shraddha, just shraddha based on the scriptures, compared to Bhagavad Madhurya Loga Mahi shraddha. And and he personally exemplified in his Harikatha and teachings that he wanted to give those leelas of Braj Bhakti, and specifically Radha and Krishna's leelas, so that devotees could be affected by coming from him, that level, and develop a faith and understanding by hearing the transcendental narrations of Krishna's intimate pastimes with his devotees. He created in that particular elevated type of shraddha. So we're so indebted for that.
Say that, the last part again.
By his Harikatha, Bhagavad Madhurya Loga Maheshwara. So Bhagavad Madhurya means he giving the narration and Harikatha of so many different wonderful pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the moods of Braj Bhakti, which created Loga Mahi Shraddha, intense greed to enter into those pastimes like one of those associates of the Divine Lord that he explained.
Yes, that's correct. So the Shraddha, as Maharaj just told, and what we just read in the footnote, that there are two types. One type is possessed by those who are only qualified for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And that is called Shastra Avadharanamayi Shraddha. It's based, there's some fear within that, but it's absolutely necessary for those who are on that level to have strict adherence to the rules and regulations that have been given in the Shastra. strict adherence to that. We just heard that in the 3 types of reprehensible persons. Each one of them, in their own different way, they're not following Shastra, you know. So the type of Shraddha that is actually necessary, that gradually has to develop, is Bhagavat Madhurya Leela Lobhamai Shraddha. The sweet pastimes of Bhagavan, of Krishna, Bhagavat Madhurya Leelamayi Shraddha. In other words, the faith that the devotee has is based not upon the rules and the regulations only, but it is arising from a spontaneous mood of attraction to hearing the sweet pastimes of Krishna. Madhurya Leela Mai. So that type of Shraddha will enable the devotee to gradually develop what? More and more attraction, you see. Now when Gurudev said in the footnote that I was reading, that actually someone who's in the stage of Shraddha, but they have faith, sometimes they can also begin to add Raga Nuga Bhakti to their practices. So if we analyze what we have been given, the system of doing a life, regulated sadhana practices in our life, what elements within that can be in this category of enabling the stimulation to take place? That the elements of spontaneous attraction and devotion can be cultivated. Yeah, like what? Yeah. What about if someone only has the Bhagavad Gita, nothing else? Yeah. What if they have not yet come in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam? And then even not yet coming in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam, or they come in contact, but not 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In other words, what I'm leading to is that Srila Prabhupada, he saw that as soon as possible, he has to give what? 10th canto. Because the 10th canto is the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The devotees have to learn and hear Krishna's sweet pastimes in Braj. And then after that, Mathura, Dwarka, but it's based upon his sweet pastimes in Braj. So those who are Braj Rasik, that's why so much of this book that we just finished and we just heard so much is describing Krishna's moods in Braj. Like Sarvagyata, Mugdata, that whole long discussion that we read the other day. Because this is the sweet nature of Braj. So what Gurudev would do is he'd actually come, and he was so expert in this. That's why his pranam mantra, Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audaurya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam. That he's so expert in presenting Shri Krishna Leela Katha. So when Gurudev came, and we were so fortunate to be there to watch his, like the Braj Rasik Vaishnava for the first time coming out of India, his whole life spending in Vrindavan, going on parikrama 50 years, and discussing these pastimes and being immersed day and night and attaining the highest stages. Now he's come on an airplane to the West, and he's sitting in devotees' homes. And what is he speaking? He's seeing, oh, here are some senior devotees. Here are some devotees, disciples of our Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. Ah, yes, these are the ones he wanted me to help. And what did he do? He turned on the sweetness and the bliss, and he began to speak actual pastimes. You know? Not just Siddhanta. Now he began to speak Lila Katha. And it's the first time that most devotees have heard. Because Srila Prabhupada, he would speak Lila Katha on occasions. But mostly he was preaching Bhagavad Gita because to the masses of people. And even to the masses of new devotees who were joining every single year for that entire 12-year period when he came to America until he departed. So he was surrounded by very, very new people. But Srila Narayan Maharaj did not come for that had already been given. He came to give this connection, this Rag Marg Bhakti. It can only be given by such personalities. No one else is qualified to give it. No matter how much they've read these things, if they themselves have not realized and are tasting, they're not qualified to bring this to the world. But he is the one. He is the one. And that's why Prabhupada knew everything. And that's why he requested him. And it came about through Krishna's arrangements that now he finally came to the western shores. And what happened? A revolution. Absolute revolution. And it was very interesting to witness how Srila Gurudev did it. And just always absorbed day and night. Didn't matter which place he was in, which part of the world. He was himself absorbed in his sadhan bhajan, chanting 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, absorbed preaching, writing his books. So that was arranged by who? That was arranged by Krishna through his pure devotees. Srila Prabhupada requested him to do that, and he did it. Yeah. And so now the world will never be the same. Yeah, it's true. Like I pointed out before, the books are there now. They're not going away. The world will never be the same. And then Krishna will send more devotees, more qualified persons. They will come. And this will compound itself all over the planet. You know, so Krishna's arranging all of that. And it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Well, we have a note here from Sukanta Prabhu where he says Prasad is ready in 20 minutes.
Nobody told me.
Just
Doing it on his own.
yes, sir.
Yes.
That's something I agree.
We have our plans and Krishna has his
Well, I suppose then we can, or any other questions or comments?
plans. Comment.
Yeah?
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Krishna Samhita, one added note about the power of Krishna Leela, especially Rasa Krishna Leela.
Mm-hmm.
He explains in Krishna Samhita these pastimes by hearing them and Krishna's different dealings in different levels, different persons, by hearing it in itself, it will dissolve certain anarthas that we have prohibiting us to progress in bhakti.
Right, yeah. Yeah, like there's a specific pastime that eliminates a specific anartha.
Right.
Right.
Like Putana represents false gurus, etc. And others, like Peshiki demon is enviousness.
Right.
It's different things like that,
Yeah.
which are obstacles in us.
Yeah. So not only do those leelas, the Krishna leela, Braj leela, not only do they inspire within our heart an attraction for the sweetness of Krishna's pastime, but simultaneously they eliminate the obstacles of the anarthas in very specific ways, you know? Yeah.
To what degree of our listening should be there for this benediction of this anartha is being vanquished by hearing the pastimes of whichever demon being?
To what degree?
To what degrees our faith and our hearing, to what degrees that have to be for these benedictions to actually fruit?
Let me expand that question too. Not only the quality of our hearing, but also the speaker who's giving us how we hearing. Like Srila Prabhupada presented Krishna Bhakti, the 10th canto, in a very, very simple and very wonderful way. So by hearing that from him, for that personality, the Srila Gurudev, who have that Braj Bhakti in their hearts, they're participating in that Braj Bhakti themselves. So, and then the other side of your question is, how do we hear it? That is I'll let Maharaj explain.
No, you can give your answer.
So it's very powerful subject matter. I told one devotee who had been practicing Krishna consciousness for many years. He came the first time to meet Srila Gurudev, and I said, now forget everything that you've learned and Gurudev said, try to open your heart. Your heart is a vessel, but it's filled with all sorts of other things. Then I can't give you what I've come to give you. It's like he gave an example of a person that wants to learn how to play a musical instrument. So the guru of that instrument, a candidate comes and he said, oh, do you know anything about playing, harmonium or whatever it is? And he says, yeah, I've had many instructions and many teachers. Okay, come to me and I'll teach you. The price is 1,000 rupees a class. Then another person comes and he asks the same question. If you have any experience with how to play this musical instrument? He said, no, not at all. He goes, okay, come every day and for you it's 100 rupees. So then the devotee heard that. He said, how come you're charging me so much? Because I have to unteach you all the bad habits that you've developed. So there are many things that how we're hearing, if we don't hear in a proper manner of submission, oral reception, like Tabiri Paripati, that if we don't hear with the proper mood, then it won't come in. The Gurudev would say, don't let it go in one ear and out the other ear. It has to go in your heart. That's the whole science of hearing and who to hear from.
So you want to repeat your question one more time?
We were talking about by hearing or reading these pastimes of different demons being slain by the Lord. There's correlation to anarthas and those to be slain in our hearts too. My question was to what degree, I forgot to ask also the speaker, but to what degree does the listener have to be hearing and their heart have to be in that pastime for that benediction to take place?
Well, I would say that the initial qualification, of course, is faith, is Shraddha. But You know, these famous verses Maharaj just quoted, one of them, Shrinvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridantasto badrani vidunoti suritsatam. So just by hearing, that is automatically going on. Yeah.
So I suppose also it's like, I've heard in somebody talk about, there's an analogy of one patient who had such severe indigestion, couldn't even take water, but the doctor told, take ghee.
Yeah.
The doctor said, how? He made it, let it up, but slowly some coating will form.
Right.
So I suppose this is also applying that to some minor degree, it's going to keep building up until we can actually listen.
Yeah. I mean, that example is very interesting, because in that case of this person who had such a serious digestive problem that he, even if he drank water, he would vomit. You know, and so when the doctor came and prescribed that you should give him a tablespoon of ghee like this, they were shocked. Why were they shocked?
How's it possible?
Huh?
Because how would it be possible?
Yeah, I mean, ghee is extremely rich, and it cannot be easily digested, especially by those persons who have such digestive problems, you see. So that inability to digest would be very surprising to somebody, that a doctor would say, the solution to this is ghee. And so then he inquired, why are you saying that he can't even keep water down, so what to speak of ghee? Okay? Or it just passes through his system. So then the doctor explained, that is true. That is true. But the fact of the matter is that now his digestion has become so non-functioning practically, that this is an emergency situation. You have to give this other substance within the digestive tract, and yes, most of it is going to pass all the way through, but what will happen is that there's a little bit of a coating that remains within the digestive tract, and that will gradually become absorbed, and day by day, through this administration of ghee, which is so full of all the vital nutrients and everything that he needs, gradually it will, jumpstart. It will jumpstart the digestive process again. And then gradually he can return to full health.
You said, even if he throws it up, that some will remain and coated.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Another example of a person in the shower. The water goes on and then goes off. The water goes on and goes off. But some is cleansing the body, even though it goes on and goes off. Some is cleansing the body. It has an effect.
Right. Okay, so back to your the actual question that you have is, what level, you were saying, what level of shraddha or attraction, or in order to get that result. And the result is not only just that anarthas are vanquished, but also from the positive side. Attraction is developing. That's why the next verse says, Nashtak prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya. Because gradually through the regulated process, by following the regulated process that is given by the Shastras, by the Acharyas, by the pure devotees, Sadhu, Guru, Shastra, they're all giving the regulative process. And when that process is followed by the conditioned soul, then what takes place automatically, if they're hearing with faith. That's why Srila Prabhupada liked to use the term submissive oral reception. Remember how Prabhupada would use that? Submissive oral reception. Because when the jiva is not doubting outwardly, they may be in a very beginning stage. But because of that submission in the heart, that is one of the symptoms of actual Shraddha. Just like Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, that verse that is Krishna is describing coming to Guru, to hear this transcendental knowledge, this vidhi, that you have to have 3 different qualifications to come to the tattvadarshi, someone who's actually seeing the true reality. They have spiritual vision. So there has to be pranipat, pariprashna, and seva, Krishna's telling. Pranipat means submission, right? That's the beginning. I bow down. I give up my self-conception that I'm very learned or qualified in this way or that way. Pranipat. Then, only then can one begin the process of pariprashna. Right? Pariprashna means submissive inquiries, not challenging. Even some doubts may come or some inability to understand, but yet it's presented in a submissive, humble way with great respect. You see? So, pariprashna, and then seva. Seva. Seva, that's okay. Thank you for beginning again. We defeated you. So seva. That's why Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Without these 3, no one can advance in bhakti. Without doing these 3, beginning with Guru and sadhus, no one can advance. Doesn't matter how much they read, how much they even try to chant. But if they don't do seva, then it's not complete. So Srila Prabhupada gave the perfect system, the perfect formula, which involved constantly following the instructions of Guru, serving those instructions, going for Harinam Samkirtan, reading his books, going for Artik, and all of the different rules and regulations. So when Srila Prabhupada finally gave the nectar of devotion, that was in 68. Well, you mean printed in 70. Oh, okay. But the same time with the Krishna book, approximately. But the Nectar of Devotion was completed before the Krishna book. So, but the Nectar of Devotion is how a person can follow the path of Bhakti Yoga. So there's no room for concoction, for mental speculation, or inventing your own process. But guess what happens? What happens inevitably with conditioned souls, that if they're not under strict guidance of Hari, Guru, Shastra, sadhus, then what happens? Huh? Yeah, it's very interesting to watch. We've watched it for many decades now. And there's always a new concoction that gets added on. That's called an apasampradaya. And this is what Rupa Goswami told. You cannot do that. What's that verse? Where he told, even if one has, like spontaneous devotion, I'm forgetting how the Sanskrit begins, but Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina. Without following Shruti, Smriti, Pancharatra, vidhi, rules and regulations. Without that, aikantika harer bhaktir. Even if the person has what? Ekantik bhakti, like one-pointed bhakti, utpataiva kalpate, it becomes a disturbance to his own pathway of advancement and to others. It becomes utpata. So, we should follow strictly what has been given by Krishna, by Shastra, by sadhus. Yeah? And if we do that in our life, if we always try to remain on track properly, even though anarthas will come, and anarthas will also give push, This is why Gurudev told, he said there's a critical point in a devotee's life. That means that critical point, a devotee will gradually come to this point where he what? Where he has not yet surpassed his anarthas sufficiently, and although he's given up and he's adopted the practice in his life, gradually what takes place is that the anarthas pull him, and they can pull him backwards to the point where he falls down from the pathway. If he doesn't do what at that critical point? If he doesn't hear these things, Gurudev said, that can give the necessary positive mood of attraction to pull him beyond the anarthas. And that's what Gurudev told. The reason why. I was in Costa Rica, in Gurudev's room, and Gurudev was asking a GBC member who came to him to give him a friendly welcome to the Latin American preaching field. That's the first time Gurudev came, Central America. And Gurudev, he didn't want to beat around the bush at all with this individual. And so a chair was provided, Gurudev sitting on his bed, and I'm sitting on the floor right next to them. Only the three of us. I think Madhav Maharaj was coming in and out of the room. I can't quite remember. But, so this Gurudev, he said to him, can you say why so many big leaders in ISKCON, why they fell down? They were serving for so many years to Swamiji, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, but yet they fell down. So many. Of course, he wasn't saying it in that tone. He was just saying it. Can you say why so many have fallen down? Then that devotee, he said, I think that it may possibly be due to the fact that they committed offenses against Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. He said that. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching and Gurudev's response and what he's saying. I already knew that devotee from previously, and he had heard a lot of tapes of Srila Sridhar Maharaj in the early 80s when they first started coming and all of that. And so he had a respect for Srila Sridhar Maharaj. But even though his answer was certainly not wrong answer, but it wasn't the complete answer. And so then Gurudev said, yes, that is there. But why? Why they fell down? They were serving so much like this. And then he just said, oh, can you please tell Maharaj the answer? And then Gurudev told him, because they have not heard these things that I have come to give. That is why they have fallen. Of course, offenses are also there. But what are offenses? What is Vaishnava aparad? It's one of the anarthas, right? There are 4 different categories of anarthas. One of them is aparad, different types of aparads, you know. So the point that Gurudev was making is that there comes a critical point in a devotee's life where he may be confronted with a very serious impediments coming at him from the realm of the anarthas that have not yet been completely purified. And so then what is the solution? The solution is that attraction for the pure spiritual nectar that is there in the divine realm of Srimad Bhagavatam, of the books of the Goswamis and so forth. This must be heard from the lips of someone who has realized and is tasting this, you know. So I always marked that. I marked it. That, yeah, that's fact. That's a fact. So, and then because they have not yet surpassed those anarthas, then they commit some very severe Vaishnava aparad against a very exalted pure Vaishnava, and now they're held back, maybe even for a few lifetimes, because of that aparad, you see. Yes. So I think, is it ready? We should... What? Oh, wait, okay, 1 minute. Yeah? Now it has to be offered. Oh, okay. Yes.
How Avadhutas come?
How what?
Avadhutas.
How?
Avadhutas.
How Avadhutas? What are you talking about?
What about Avadhutas and this white mark? How Avadhutas, how it comes that they get prayer?
How comes what?
I mean, what I want to say, how Avadhutas come into this, what we were talking about.
Yamadutas?
No, Avadhutas.
How they kind of, they're ignoring why they are, but they still
He's thinking that they other users are neglected.
Who's asking the question? You. Okay. What is an avadut? Do you know what an avadut is?
someone who doesn't follow regulations.
No. Are you kidding? That's not the definition of an avadut. You don't know that? Huh? Yeah. No, that's not the definition at all of an avadut, someone who doesn't follow regulations. An avadut is a stage of perfection. Okay? This is not a ordinary sadhak, or someone who is very advanced along the pathway. Who was the example of an avadut was the Supreme Lord himself in the form of Lord Nityananda. Did Lord Nityananda not practice the limbs of bhakti? Of course he did. Did he give up following regulative principles? No. He was following constantly. So much so, his level of advancement was so high that Mahaprabhu actually told his devotees, it's in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that you take this strip of cloth from the kopin of Nityananda Prabhu and you put it in a little, what are they called? Kavacha, and you wear it on your body. And in this way you will be able to control your senses. Because if somebody had a doubt about Lord Nityananda, that he goes and he associates with, like Mahaprabhu actually said, even if he's associating with a Muslim girl in some brothel, place where people drink alcohol, you should never doubt Nityananda Prabhu. What is his intention? What is his level of love for Krishna? Even he's entering into that place. You see? So an avadut, it actually means a person who is above the category of ordinary sadhaks. He is in a stage approaching perfection or already having attained perfection. No one can imitate a person in that stage. Imitation will cause absolute fall down. There are two different terminologies in Sanskrit. One is called anukaranam, and the other is called anusaranam. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar has explained. Anukar means to imitate. Imitate something that another person does. Anukar. But anusaranam means to take the essential teaching that that personality is giving and not to try to imitate. And so what is an example of this that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam? Lord Shiva. Who is Lord Shiva? He's what? I can't hear. He's the topmost amongst all Vaishnavas. He's a partial incarnation of the Supreme Lord. He's an exalted pure devotee. But yet we see by the arrangement of the Lord in His creation that there are three different agencies for those who are in the modes of passion, in goodness, and in ignorance. And these three predominating deities of those modes. So Lord Shiva is connected with the Tamagun. And therefore outwardly he also associates with and is in the environment of graveyards, smearing ashes on the body, even sometimes smoking ganja. But if someone says, oh, well, Lord Shiva smokes ganja, well, that means he's the Supreme Acharya, so I can do that also. What will happen to such a foolish person? They will absolutely fall down. Why? Because naitat samacharet jatu manasapi hi anishwara. You are anishwara. You're an ordinary conditioned soul of this world, and you want to imitate the activities of the Ishwaras who control the movements of the sun and the moon and the destruction of the universe and all of this, and you're going to imitate, you're going to use that example? Extremely foolish. So, but this is the problem. This is always the problem of those who want to move forward, move ahead in the pathway of bhakti as given in the line of Rupa Goswami and our acharyas, that they want to concoct according to their own misguided and completely distorted vision. And what happens in every single case, they fall down. And they don't advance, and because they commit aparad also. They commit a lot of aparad. And then they're held back for multiple lifetimes. Yeah. Serious Vaishnava aparad can hold back the jiva for multiple lifetimes. By that one very severe aparad. How do we know this? Because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has told very clearly in his Madhurya Kadambini, even here it's mentioned in this book, Rupa Goswami has mentioned this in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yes, he has told there that when one progresses on the path of bhakti, Rupa Goswami has written this, when one progresses on the path of bhakti, and he goes from the beginning stages of Shraddha, and he comes into Sadhu Sangha, then he begins to practice Bhajana Kriya, and then Anartha Nivritti begins to become activated, serious Anartha Nivritti. But that's that Anartha Nivritti process is not for just a few days or years. It can even be for multiple lifetimes. Then, as the anarthas are removed, then Nishta can come at that stage, not prior to that. Nishta cannot come prior to that. Otherwise the Bhagavatam would not say, Nashtak prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. When prayeshu abhadra, that means the inauspicious things that are there within the heart, they're called abhadra. They're not auspicious. They're inauspicious. They're not good for the sadhak. But those abhadras are there. When one performs bhakti, by what? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Always serving the Bhagavad. Srimad Bhagavatam, the book Bhagavatam, and the person Bhagavatam, the pure devotee. Then what happens? Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Then pure devotion to who? Krishna, who is the personality glorified by the highest type of beautiful poetical shlokas composed by all the greatest Vaishnavas. Uttama shloka, that's a name of Krishna, the topmost shlokas. So, bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. When one performs Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, then gradually those anarthas and those abhadras are removed. And when Nashtak Prayeshu Apadreshu, when Nashtak means to destroy them, they're destroyed. They're no longer hampering in your heart. They're destroyed. So when a sufficient and significant amount, it doesn't say which percentage, but it says prayeshu abhadreshu. That means you're getting close to a lot of the anarthas being removed. So whatever percentage that may be, or what type, because there's many different types of anarthas, they have different stages of removal as well. But when they are removed to a large degree, then and then only can what? Naishtiki bhakti come. Nishta. Firm faith. Yes. But that is based upon Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatra Vidhim Vina. It must be based on Sadhu, Guru and Shastra always. We always have to be under that guidance. And then we just heard Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also told, for those who have realized, they also practice, they show in their life the following and the practice of those various different types of limbs of bhakti, which are sadhana. Why? To set example for the whole rest. Because without following that, no one can attain the advanced stages of bhakti. No one. I've never seen it once in my life. I've never seen it that somebody who has not practiced has gone to that level. So this is the fact. There's a process. We have to follow that process. So what was the point I was making? There was a point that led to this.
About attitudes not following conventions, but yet the attitude doesn't have to follow conventions. They're already pure.
Yes, that should be understood. This is the whole point. They're already on a very high, advanced, exalted level. Generally, they follow. But they also do things that persons, even in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, he would swim out into the Ganga and he would wrestle with the crocodiles. You know? There's so many pastimes of Lord Nityananda that are extremely unusual. But he's avaduta, you see. He's absorbed in Krishna Prem constantly. And who is he? He's actually the Lord himself. Excuse me for a moment. Yes, hello? Hello? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you have to put it in the office. Oh, you have to put it in the office, okay? Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. So, what was that last point?
Person of interest is already going to do unusual things. It doesn't mean he's going to be doing sinful things.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to put forward this point in this discussion, which I've already mentioned. You know, why is this required in a institution that is in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami? Why is it necessary that at some stage, those who have been practicing for a good number of years, that now they need to focus in this way now? So, it's essential. And, of course, that high association, that's being sent by Krishna. But if someone rejects that association, then what does it show? It shows that they have been infested with many anarthas, and especially aparad.
So it's one of those operads, not hearing from such a personality as available.
Well, yeah. Well, that's Vaishnava aparad. There are 6 types of Vaishnava aparad. You know that list. Not to welcome. That means staying away, you see. So, we've seen it. We've lived through it. And so, we know what the process is. Now we have to apply that process. And it requires what? Utsahan, Nishchayad, Dhairyat, Tat Karma Pravartanat. That means following all the rules and regulations. Sangatyagat, giving up bad association, materialistic association. Satovritte, and always following in the footsteps of the previous realized acharyas. Satovritte. And in this way, with enthusiasm, firm conviction, utsahan, nishchayad, dhairyat, and patience, then we can proceed along the pathway and be successful. We want to be successful. So, but we should always be aware that if we become lax and we deviate, then there's some danger is there. Because there are different types of offenses. That's why Rupa Goswami has given the list of 64 limbs of bhakti, and then there's also 64 different types of offenses. Because if we don't avoid offenses, then we cannot be successful. Okay, is it done now? Yeah? Jai. So we have our class on Thursday, which will be the final, and it'll be here again at around the same time, maybe slightly earlier. We'll try. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur. Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Vrindai Tulsidimbai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satchavachai Namo Nama Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glory to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.